How's it going, bookworms, and welcome back to another chill honest reads. And today we're going to be continuing our journey through Michael Grant's Gone series by looking at the sequel, Hunger. Now, I think it should be said, but there are going to be some spoilers since this is a continuation of his last book, Gone. So, if you want to be kept in the dark, spoiler free, then it might be a good idea to skip this. But with that said, let's just jump right into the phase and see how the hell these kids are still alive. So 3 months have passed since the events of the last book. 3 months after Kane, Drake, and the Coyote Pack got their asses whooped by Sam and the heroes of Perdido Beach. 3 months after the Thanksgiving feast hosted by Albert, which kinda helped in aiding today's problem, hunger. Let's be honest, this was the first thing that was going to happen. This is going to be the first problem at all. These kids were just snacking on cookies and chips until the last crumb dropped. And all of a sudden they're like, why are we so hungry now? We need food. So they start looking for outside sources and start scavenging the houses, the empty houses, since no one else is living there. And yeah, it's just a bad situation. Good or bad. I mean, I'm going to talk about this a little bit more, but this hunger situation, it leads to good problems, but it also leads to bad problems. And I should mention something about the darkness, or the Gaia phage as this book is now calling it, that lives in the mineshaft, because it does get a good amount of attention in this book, since it's already thinking about its plot and what it wants out of these people, especially the ones that it manipulates. There really isn't much more to say about it. I mean, Gone already covered the main premise about the adults leaving, and now this is just focused 3 months later about the first issue of an apocalyptic world going hungry, and just a little bit about the darkness that's living in the mineshaft. It's more expanded with the characters, which we will cover in the next topic. If Gone was well known for its action-packed moments, then Hunger should be known for its well-developed characters. I mean, you get to learn a lot about these people, and after 3 months, there is so much more to expand on in this one. Sam is back and is now the leader of Perdido Beach. I mean, after you kick Kane's ass, you just become the leader. And as the saying goes, with great power comes great responsibility. Except all those responsibilities are in the hands of a 15-year-old. I mean, everyone is just bashing him with questions, everyone expecting an answer. He has to solve the hunger problem, has to solve the fact that kids are not working, the return of Kane, the segregation between normals and freaks, which does get control out of this book, and every other miscellaneous problem that these kids have. I mean, he has to figure out the name for pets. That's a problem. The fact that these kids can't decide on whether to call it Sprinkles or Donut. It's hunger! That's the issue. I don't know why these kids are so worried about the dogs. They could just eat it. I mean, he could just hold it off for so long until it all just blows up in his face. Albert surprisingly has a bigger role in this, since you could say this is like his origin story, because at first, in the first book, he was in charge of McDonald's, which becomes a McClub at this point because there's no food to sell anymore. This is the point in the series where Albert starts to share his business ideas with the rest of the kids at Perdido Beach, since he's starting to notice that these kids are not working for free, not without a little incentive like money, food, a free entry pass into the McClub. And Sam doesn't really like this idea because he doesn't want Albert to become a power figure, a big cat, someone controlling the rest of the other kids with money or food or any other of these incentives that he comes up with. But Albert just wants to build the economy again. I mean, could that really be so dangerous as time comes? We'll see. Kane is starting to become my all-time favorite villain for this series. I mean, God, he is very over-the-top evil, but in such an enjoyable way. He was part of the cliffhanger in the last book, where the Coyotes were taking him down to the mineshaft so he could meet with the Gaia phage itself. And that alone, that meeting left him incapacitated for 3 months until this very moment while Diana was taking care of him. He comes back for this story, crazier than ever, but now is controlled by the Gaiaphage in his mind and asks him to invade the power plant for his own fiendish deeds. Lana Arwen Lazar. Man, still my favorite chick in the entire series. And in this story in particular, she's kind of on the same boat with Sam and Kane. For Sam, people won't stop pestering her about her healing ability. They always come to her about the smallest scratch, the smallest boo-boo, the smallest toothache, and it's just like, it's too much for her. She deals with like bigger problems. So like the heroes of Perdido Beach, when that battle, when they got like scarred, got blood all over their face, was like spewing guts, like those problems. And people come to her with these baby issues, and she's just like, nah, I ain't having it. I'm going to live at Clifftop Resort and just live my days with my dog. She's on the same boat as Kane because they both had a meeting with the Gaiaphage, and now it's like a virus that's always like in their heads, always tempting them to do something. In this story, it's trying to control her to come to him, or it, because it needs her. And she's just having enough of it. She wants to get rid of it. She wants to get the pain out of her head. So she tries to, well, I'm not gonna ruin it, but she does something, how should I say, explosive, that it's a little hands-on, but it just might get the job done. Zil Sperry is just a normal, average kid who actually starts a segregation between normals and freaks. I mean, he doesn't even have a proper introduction. He just shows up and starts hating freaks. And it's not really said, but more implied that he's kind of like a crowd pleaser, especially in moments where he's trying to one-up Sam and trying to take his leadership role. But when you see more of him and his posse, you see that he's just spouting ideas without little to no confidence behind them. Lil Pete is Astra's autistic brother and possibly the trump card, being the strongest mutant in the phase. And in this story, he's actually shown to get more personal with the darkness, or as the Gaiaphage likes to call him, Nemesis. We got two fighters in the Perdido roster, Deca and Brianna, who were saved from Coates Academy in the last book. Deca is a black lesbian who controls the power of gravity, while Brianna is a cocky redhead who controls the power of speed. Deca has kind of a little crush on Brianna, but that's kind of interrupted over a third party. Computer Jack is that third party. He's also a guy from Coates Academy, and he has the technological mind of a computer while also gaining the mutant powers of incredible strength. His role in the story is also kind of major because he has the technological mind to know what happens over at the power plant once Kane gets a hold of him. And finally, we have Duck Zhang. I mean, talk about the rise and fall of a hero. I mean, Grant really knew how to utilize his character for this story. You would just think he's just an average kid who's just bitching about a swimming pool, and it isn't until Zil antagonizes him that he learns his power to control his density. And from there, you would never guess how important of a tool he becomes by the end of the story. And don't worry, none of the other kids died of hunger. Not Quinn, Astrid, Adelio, Mary, Diana, Drake. They're all fine. It's just that in this story, they really didn't get much focus. So what I was thinking for this series is that as I go along, I'll just cover the main perspectives that cover like the main plot or what contributes to the story in general. And from what we got from these side stories, they weren't really that hard to keep up with and actually mixed in well by the end. Like I said, character development really shined throughout this book. I mean, I don't know if it's because these kids were like on low energy and couldn't be able to do cool stuff, but the emotions do run high. I mean, after 3 months, you really get to peek into the minds of these characters' psyche, learn new characters and their backstory, and just overall get to know them, get to know these kids, get to know these starving, exhausted children. I would also say that the tone of this story is satisfyingly dark because the title sticks to what it promises is. If you see hunger, that's what you're gonna get. This whole story is around the theme of starvation, and Grant does a fantastic job. You get a real sensation of what hunger can do to a kid. It didn't work out for Mary because she's still suffering from her eating disorder and just stops eating overall to get that model look. But it worked out for Quinn because now it gave him a sense of purpose that would eventually aid in this hunger crisis. But then you can see what it can do to a kid mentally. I mean, just imagine the whole scenario like a Snickers commercial. What would you do for a Snickers bar? Cook your friend's dog? Cook your friend? Lynch a mutant by the neck? Yeah, that actually happened. You're not you when you're hungry. Go eat Snickers. There really isn't much more I could say about this book that I haven't already covered and Gone in terms of writing. I could say that this book feels a little bit more repetitive than Gone. And not just because of one-word sentences that don't really capture the feeling of emphasis, especially if it's overused in every chapter, but also thoughts feel repeated, like Sam's issue about taking leadership or Cain being controlled by the darkness. And even some of the setting locations seemed a bit dull. I mean, the main points of action happen in the cabbage field where these mutant worms called Zeeks are found, Perdido Beach of course, and the power plant where most of the story takes place. And in the power plant, it becomes a total hostage situation where Cain and his posses are trapped by Sam and his allies, and they're just waiting. They're literally waiting for the longest time. Eventually, it just became too dry for me. And again with the cliffhanger, just why? Why, Grant? You do such a perfect job ending things on a good note, but then you manage to ruin it with a short twist paragraph. I mean, why? Why do you need this? I mean, just shove it, make it its own thing in the preview for the next book, but not on the final page. Please, stop! I gotta say, it was an okay read. I can't really say if it was more or less better or worse than Gone, because both books feel different in terms of quality. Gone felt like the warm-up house tour that showed us the main premise of the entire series and just showed us all around, like here's the woods, or here's the desert, or here's the town, or here's the evil Coates Academy. It just showed us all around. Hunger, on the other hand, introduces the first problem that these kids will face in future installments of the series, which I am definitely looking forward to continuing. Anyways, those are my final thoughts on Hunger. And if you read it yourself, why not leave your thoughts and impressions in the comments down below. And until next time, I'll see you all in the next review. Take care, guys.